for a sincere performance, but open to finding the moment, to finding out where I'm headed now. Looking for a sign of disaster, so I can make it there faster. I'm weighing the consequences out. I can see in all directions. It's all open.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2021-22 Contra Costa County Teacher of the Year celebration. My name is Lynn Mackey, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as your County Superintendent of Schools. This is the 49th year that the county has participated in the Teacher of the Year program, honoring our educators throughout Contra Costa County. Today, we are broadcasting live, so call your friends, family members, neighbors, and coworkers, and tell your followers on social media to turn on their TV to edTV, which is Xfinity Channel 32, or AT&T U-verse Channel 99, or catch the live stream at cocoschools.org. For closed caption, please watch us on edTV. The theme of this year's event is Embracing a Bright Future. During the last 18 months, there's been plenty of challenges. But today, students are back in the classroom, COVID rates are down, and vaccine rates are up. The future is bright, and it's going to continue to get brighter. Throughout this pandemic, the teachers of Contra Costa County have worked hard to help students achieve their dreams and reach their highest potential. Tonight, we recognize 21 of the best educators in Contra Costa County. These teachers are representing their colleagues and communities from 16 school districts, the County Office of Education, and the Contra Costa County Community College District. From those 21 educators, a panel of judges have selected 4 finalists who are vying to represent the county in the California Teacher of the Year program. All 4 of the finalists are joining us live from remote locations. They are, representing the Liberty Union High School District, Alicia Douglas from Liberty High School. Representing the Acalanes Unified High School District, Kristen Plant from Miramonte High School. Representing the San Ramon Valley Unified School District, Michelle Wilson from Doherty Valley High School. And representing the Pittsburgh Unified School District, Christina Zinzano from Rancho Madonnas Junior High School. You will see them again at various points throughout tonight's show. Now, I would like to welcome Contra Costa County Board of Education President Annette Lewis to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the celebration of the greatest and most noble profession on earth. I'd like to introduce my colleagues on the board, who I am sure are watching us live this evening. Vice President Sarah Butler, Mike Maxwell, Consuelo Lara, and Anna Marie Farias. I know all of them wish, as I do, that we could be all in the same room so that we could shake each of your hands and tell you face to face how proud we are of the work that you have done throughout the pandemic. The 21 teachers being commended tonight have been selected to represent the best and the brightest educators in this county. We all owe them a tremendous debt for their professionalism and leadership. They have found new and innovative ways to educate students in the midst of an unprecedented crisis. While students are back in physical classrooms, the hard work remains. I am confident that the educators we are celebrating this evening and those they represent will do everything they can to educate the students we serve. So, on behalf of my colleagues on the Board of Education, I will say congratulations and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Annette. I know that the education community in Contra Costa County appreciates the support that you and the Board of Education provide to the teachers, students, and family we serve every day. Before we continue tonight's festivities, I'd like to introduce you to Marcus Walton, the Director of Communications here at the County Office of Education. He will present a few special acknowledgments and serve as our MC tonight.
Thank you, Superintendent Mackey. I am honored to be here tonight. Before we move on with the festivities, we would like to acknowledge the presence and support of the Board of Education members, superintendents, and administrators from the 18 school districts, and the Board of Trustees, Chancellor, and leadership of the Contra Costa Community College District. There are also several people and organizations we need to thank for their support of this year's Teachers of the Year. Without their investments of time, resources, and yes, money, tonight would not be possible. Please join me in thanking our title sponsor, Chevron. Sponsors at the visionary level are the Dean and Margaret Lesher Foundation, the Martinez Refinery Company, St. Mary's College of California, the Contra Costa County Office of Education. Benefactor level sponsors include the Association of California School Administrators, Region 6, Dennis Walliver and Kelly, Denelec Delarm, Mechanics Bank, Kaiser Permanente, Travis Credit Union. Additional sponsors are First Northern California Credit Union, Keenan and Associates, and Pawar Transportation, LLC. Finally, we have our contributors. The 32nd District of the California State PTA, Lozano Smith, LLP, O'Connor, Runkle, and O'Malley, Lakeshore Learning, Lesher Center for the Arts, Mercedes-Benz Walnut Creek, Safeway, Trader Joe's, and the County Office of Education Tobacco Use Prevention Education. What is a Teacher of the Year celebration without entertainment from the talented students? Please welcome Heritage High School's Jazz 1 and 2 classes, directed by Juan Carrion and Jeff Kumagi. They will be performing the jazz standard, It's Wonderful, composed and written by Ira and George Gershwin.
Wonderful, it's marvelous that you should care for me.
It's awful nice, it's paradise, it's what I love to see. My dear, it's 4-leaf clover.
Even with masks, they sound amazing. Thank you again to the amazing students and teachers at Heritage High School for that performance. Again, that's Jazz 1 and 2 classes directed by Juan Carrion and Jeff Kumagai. Next, we want to introduce you to our reigning Teachers of the Year, Sarah Clancy and Courtney Konopaki. They're both teachers in the San Ramon Valley Unified School District. Sarah Clancy has been an educator since 2008 at Live Oak Elementary School in San Ramon. And Courtney Konopaki has been teaching for 18 years and is a social science teacher at Stone Valley Middle School in Alamo. We want to thank you both for being great representatives of the teaching profession. Even though tonight marks the end of your reign as the county's top educators, we will remain grateful to you for your contributions to public education. We will now recognize the 2021-22 honorees. These 21 educators represent the best and brightest of the teaching profession this year. They have been selected from their peers for their dedication and ability to make a difference in the lives of their students. This group of exemplary educators has a combined 350 years of classroom experience and averaged nearly 17 years in the profession. Each of the school districts have an opportunity to put forward one teacher to be considered for the county's top education award each year. Due to their enrollment size, 3 districts, San Ramon, Mount Diablo, and West Contra Costa, are eligible to submit 2 nominees for consideration. Now, without further ado, the class of 2021-22 District Teachers of the Year. Representing the Knightson Elementary School District, Ann Ajimura, a 4th grade teacher from Old River Elementary School. Miss Ajimura did retire at the end of the last school year. Representing the Lafayette School District, Casey Bowles, a 3rd grade teacher from Spring Hill Elementary School. Representing the Contra Costa County Office of Education, Sarah Biura, a deaf and hard of hearing education specialist from our East County student programs. Representing Byron Union School District, Louise Colbert, a technology teacher at Excelsior Middle School. Representing Liberty Union High School District, Alicia Douglas, a visual and performing arts teacher at Liberty High School and one of this year's finalists. Representing the San Ramon Valley Unified School District, Patricia Facto, a special education teacher at Golden View Elementary School. Representing the Moraga School District, Claire Fallon, a 5th grade teacher at Moraga Elementary School. Representing the West Contra Costa Unified School District, Christina Ferry, an English language development teacher at Lavanya Dijon Middle School. Representing the Contra Costa Community College District, Nicholas Garcia, a dramatic arts instructor at Los Medanos College. Representing the Martinez Unified School District, Ryan Hussey, a social studies teacher at Alhambra High School. Again, representing the West Contra Costa Unified School District, Carla Juntia, a social studies teacher at Richmond High School. Representing the John Sweat Unified School District, Eden Kennedy Hoffman, a teacher on special assignment at Carquinez Middle School. Representing the Brentwood Union School District, Scott McCurdy, a math and science teacher at Adams Middle School. Representing the Mount Diablo Unified School District, Elizabeth McDonough, an English and visual and performing arts teacher at Prospect High School. Representing the Acalanes Union High School District, Kristen Plant, an English and visual and performing arts teacher at Miramonte High School, another one of our finalists. Representing the Mount Diablo Unified School District, Chelsea Rittenauer, a math teacher at Diablo View Middle School, Representing the Walnut Creek School District, Elizabeth Sisson, a special education teacher at Buena Vista Elementary School. Representing the Antioch Unified School District, Crystal Van Dyke, a multiple subject teacher at Mission Elementary School. Representing the San Ramon Valley Unified School District, Michelle Wilson, an English teacher at Doherty Valley High School, our 3rd finalist. Representing the Orinda Union School District, Shauna Yeager, a first grade teacher at Wagner Ranch Elementary School. And representing the Pittsburgh Unified School District, Christina Zenzano, a language arts teacher at Rancho Medanos Junior High School, our final finalist. Again, presenting your 2021-22 Contra Costa County District Teachers of the Year. We will now hear another great performance from Heritage High School. This time, our teachers will be serenaded by senior Alexander Medina with the song he wrote and composed.
What do I say? It's been way too many days since I've last talked to you. All I can say is, how are you? That's good. Yeah, I'm alright. I just wanted to say, you know, the other day I do, with my whole entire heart. Hope this doesn't fall apart, 'cause you're a work of art to me, yeah. Oh, see that you're stuck with a problem. Gotta help before it hits rock bottom. Or is there something that you need just to yourself? If so, just know that I won't ever let you go. What can I do? 'Cause I love you. Oh, yes, I do. With my whole entire heart. Hope this doesn't fall apart, 'cause you're a work of art to me, yeah. What do I say? It's been way too many days since I've last talked to you. All I can say is I love you.
Another amazing performance from another Contra Costa County student. Thank you again, Alex, for your contribution to tonight's festivities. Now, we move on to the introductions of our Teachers of the Year finalists, who will be presented by their students or former students. First, we have Gabby Brodowski, a 2019 graduate of Liberty High School. Take it away, Gabby.
Hello, my name is Gabby Brodowski, and I'm a 2019 Liberty High School and PATA alumni. Today, as I speak to you, I'm gratefully sitting on my college campus. Behind me is the College of Fine Arts, where I study art education. A huge reason I'm sitting on this campus today is because of Miss Alicia Douglas. I want to introduce Miss Douglas through 4 of the quintessential criteria of making art, the principles of design. The first category is balance. Douglas values balance among all of her students. She teaches us to balance school, extracurricular, work, life, ourselves. The second category is unity. Douglas brings together 90+ students each year who come from all walks of life, who all have one thing in common, and that's the love of art. There is a strong sense of unity within Douglas's classrooms, and in there you will never feel alone. The third category is emphasis. Each year, Douglas guides the PATA seniors in creating a work of art that can be found around the community. She emphasizes taking pride in process, constructive criticism, community involvement, detailed communication, and so much more. With putting emphasis on such important life lessons, her students are able to enter our complex world with confidence. The fourth category is movement. There is never a time through all trials and tribulations that Douglas couldn't keep us all moving. She allowed us to explore art, which moved us further into artistic expressions. And while she moved us along, she ensured that no one was left behind. With all this said, I would now like to formally introduce you to our Teacher of the Year, Miss Alicia Douglas.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here as a Contra Costa Teacher of the Year finalist. Over the 15 years I've been teaching, I've enjoyed getting to know and interact with hundreds of students. Through these interactions, I've obtained new knowledge to help me become a better teacher, mentor, and hopefully make a difference in my students' lives. For people to acquire knowledge, we first must learn. Sometimes the lessons we learn can hurt us, or they can help us heal to gain the knowledge we need to become better than the person we were before. To say the last school year was challenging is putting it mildly. Teachers had to rework entire curriculums to meet the demands of remote teaching, while students were ripped away from their school support systems and thrust into teaching themselves at home. For years, students have struggled with the etiquette of using social media, and this past year made it worse. Kids watched one of the most divisive and hostile elections play out on television and social media, where adults verbally attacked one another because of their race, gender, and beliefs. It's easy to ignore the impact words can have on a person when you hide behind a computer screen. My students this past year taught me the importance of sharing the knowledge of what it means to be tolerant and facing problems head on. My senior internship class is a cohort of students who have taken most of their high school classes together. This specific group of students have always had some friction with each other. However, the students handled any conflict or issues with little interaction from myself or fellow academy teachers. In November 2020, one of my internship students reached out to me because she was being bullied by her fellow classmates online due to her opposing ideologies that did not reflect the rest of the class. When the student asked for my help, I could have left the issue alone and just passed the complaint off to the administrators. However, I questioned the type of example I was setting for this group of students if I didn't recognize their issues and concerns. If I passed off their concerns to someone else to handle, what message was I sending if I didn't want to discuss that complex topic? In the end, I came to the conclusion that I could not pass up this teachable moment. I needed to show my class the importance of having hard conversations. The next day we were in class. This is what I ended up telling them. Somewhere along the lines, you guys forgot to have a little tolerance for each other, or maybe you never had it, which makes things worse. You don't have to agree with someone, and you don't have to like each other. However, to show tolerance, you should listen to what someone else is saying and be able to respond without belittling or causing harm to the other person. If the goal is to have someone see things from your perspective, how do you do that? By wishing them harm. The high road is never easy, and you'll win more support and have more people see your side when you take the time to listen. Try to understand why they believe the things that they do. Understand where someone is coming from doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. It just recognizes their point of view. When you use language meant to demean or cause harm to someone else, you are no better than the side you're trying to fight against. Our high school students are on the cusp of being adults, and they will change for the better or worse throughout their lives. But what I have learned, and hopefully they have learned, is that you should always strive to be better than the people you were before. We hopefully have long lives in front of us with tons of ups and downs. We shouldn't waste our time being hateful. You can stand up for what you believe in without being mean and cruel. It all goes back to showing a little tolerance for the others and being a better person even when it's hard. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabby and Alicia. Our next presenter will be Isabel Burnett, a senior at Miramonte High School.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabel Bennett and I'm a senior at Miramonte High School. This year Mrs. Plant is my leadership teacher. She just recently started teaching leadership last year and has already made quite the name for herself as a kind, reliable ally to all students. In previous years, Mrs. Plant has also been my public speaking teacher. As an alumnus of our own forensics program, Mrs. Plant uses her experience to turn students, no matter their grade or background, into nationally competitive speakers and debaters. As I've been in these two class settings with Mrs. Plant, there are some things she keeps consistent. First, a specialized approach to each student's needs. Second, generosity with her time and space. And third and most importantly, a willingness to try something new. Whether it's piloting an equity leadership class last year all by herself, or taking on important coordinator roles in our speech and debate regional league. Above all else, Mrs. Plant trusts her students, and we trust her back. She lets us learn from our mistakes, lead by example, and contribute to her class culture and curriculum. Mrs. Plant has taught me to be a mentor, a leader, and a good student. She's taught me more than presentation skills and event organization, but how to stand up for others and speak my truth. Mrs. Plant has touched the hearts of many students and shaped dozens of advocates, leaders, and astounding citizens. Now, I'd like to introduce our Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Plant.
From beneath the face mask, his big voice boomed. Mrs. Plant, KP, I'm so grateful to be at school. It was March 2021, and after a year of distance learning, at home, online due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I could finally feel the healing energy of being with students. At long last, kids were on our high school campus, part-time in a hybrid schedule, and despite our collective excitement, we were cautious. So I appreciated this student's pleased to meet you gusto, his attitude of gratitude, just to be at school. I'm finally here in the public speaking room with the team, and whew, because KP, your class on Zoom was so boring. What I've learned from my students, aside from humility, is to be grateful for the endeavor of education. My students have taught me that in order to engage in learning, every kid needs to be a valued member of the academic team. For 19 years, I've taught high school English language arts, focusing on helping every student gain communication skills for life. And I've learned from my students to be grateful for the opportunity to grow as listeners and speakers together. In our mixed-level public speaking classes, my students build a network of support for all. They've taught me that speech and debate is hard. And it's even harder if you're learning English, navigating learning differences or disabilities, struggling with mental health and wellness, or being judged, left out, or put down based on aspects of your identity. Well, my job is to try to ensure that every student is safe, heard, and valued so that they can learn. I've learned from my students how to build team camaraderie, how to turn a class into a community. Each class roster contains half rookies, new to the program, and half veterans, advanced students who help lead the class. Our buddy system pairs each rookie with a veteran buddy, responsible for mentoring them throughout the year. And I have learned that all of my students care about being good buddies. All of them. My job is to show them how and to hold them accountable. My students are eager to contribute to curriculum and instruction. They volunteer to lecture on debate topics or to perform old speeches as examples. They decorate the walls of the classroom with photos of their accomplishments at Buddy Day, tournaments, the canned food drive, the senior showcase. And as problems arise, I've learned that my students want to intervene. Absent from class for more than 3 days? Your buddy will reach out to see how you're doing. Unprepared to give your speech on performance day? Let's meet with your buddy to set up a schedule of mini deadlines before you redo that performance. Spot bias in our curriculum or perspectives missing from our studies? Let's identify the harm and work together to repair it. I have learned from my students not to take it for granted that school should be safe and accessible. No student should need to feel afraid to be who they are, to be unwelcome in their own school. As a leader, learner in equity work, I'm humbled by the courage of students who have challenged me to better recognize and disrupt when racism, ableism, homophobia, and other forms of hate show up in me, in our culture and community, in our curriculum and policies. They hold me in loving accountability to work together toward a more anti-racist, equitable school. Toni Morrison said, "If you have some power, then your job is to empower somebody else." I have work to do. We have work to do.
Thank you, Isabel and Kristen. Next, we have Leah John, a student at Doherty Valley High School.
I love to talk, yet despite my natural affinity for the spoken word, writing has always been something I've avoided. Growing up, writing felt like a suffocating task that bogged me down with its strict structures and confusing rules. In my mind, all the theirs were interchangeable, commas were just fun accessories to decorate sentences with, and spelling was a task deemed impossible. Yet, despite firmly telling Miss Wilson on the first day of freshman year that I would forever despise writing, she seemed to disagree. While teachers before her had highlighted my erratic writing structure and unorganized grammar, she focused on my loud mouth and passionate stance and took them as a sign that I had valuable ideas begging to be transcribed on paper. Now, her belief in me didn't magically make me perfect at English, but it did make me give writing another shot. Her tough critiques and open-mindedness to new ideas made me realize that I had been looking at the subject wrong my entire life. English isn't following formulas or memorizing literary terms. English is creativity. It's innovation. It's self-expression. It's essential. Miss Wilson doesn't just teach us how to write. She teaches us why to write. Because as she always makes clear, all of us have voices that people want to hear if we just give them the opportunity to do so. Now, personally, Miss Wilson has changed my life in multiple ways. She's given me a safe haven to cry in, entertained every hour-long after-school conversation, and written one too many over-exaggerated recommendation letters preaching about my so-called potential. But the most important thing she gave me was a strong belief that my words were important, and that if I put those words down on paper, they would not only reach an innumerable amount of people, but also live on forever. Now, I've always loved to talk. That much is unlikely to change. But thanks to Miss Wilson, I now love to write as well. So now, without further ado, the woman who made me a writer, our Teacher of the Year, Miss Wilson.
It's a story I've heard for most of my teaching life, that when it comes to education, the United States consistently, as the media likes to say, lags behind other world countries, that we are losing out and falling behind. Even more frustrating is the fact that our state, California, one of the most economically successful and innovative states in the union, ranks in the bottom third on national education rankings. But I think about one of my favorite expressions, attributed to Mark Twain, but first taught to me by my father, which I'll edit a bit for school appropriateness. Twain said that there are three lies: lies, darn lies, and statistics. The measure by which we as a nation judge our students uses words like scores, ratios, results, rates. It suggests a notion of correctness, accuracy, and a singular definition of success, which we are evolving to recognize can be biased and exclusionary. I've taught in 3 economically, linguistically, and culturally diverse communities in California, And in all three communities learned that when you divorce the student, the human being, from the statistic, and give them a space that values, challenges, trusts, and hears them, the future success of this country is much brighter than the World Report Card indicates. What my students have taught me more than any test score has is that I need to make space for their voices, and I need to make these voices consequential above my own in the classroom. You know something is working when you see those metaphorical light bulbs over student heads, when they speak with passion and excitement and interest and desire to know more. When I stop talking, stop being the depositor of information and the arbiter of truth, and let them have the floor, let them explore and debate current issues in American and human society, or I create assignments in which the objective is to persuade an audience about topics that are important to them, then they feel like they have purpose. It is here that learning transcends the classroom. Students continue to discuss topics as they leave. They participate in discussions with their friends, family, and online. They share with me blogs or podcasts they've started to address social issues they care about. They see that their words and ideas can create change, and that even though they're teenagers, their voice matters. I've also learned to honor and celebrate personality and identity. It's easy to look out on students in row desks and, for the sake of easeability, treat them uniformly or in the best way that will accomplish the most in a 55-minute class period. But as I've made spaces for student voices, I've also come to understand how important it is for them to be seen and understood. And maybe more than that, how important it is for them to feel like valued and needed members of the classroom. Allow the comedian to crack jokes, the social butterfly to socialize, the introvert to be quiet and contemplate. Don't we as humans need to learn from those who are best at making us laugh, being our friends, and reflecting on the easily overlooked details in the world? Beyond personal identities, I've learned to honor cultural ones. You give power to students when you hear the story of their names. Let them talk about their religions and customs. When you expand the canon to include authors who share their experiences and values. Finally, I've learned that my reality is not reality. I've learned to listen and trust in others' experiences that are different from my own. I've learned to be vulnerable enough to let my students be my teacher. In my 20 years teaching, they've taught me about systemic inequalities when it comes to race, class, and ability. And hearing the inspiring stories from my immigrant students and families, I've learned about the sacrifices it takes to pursue the American dream. In listening to their feelings of being overwhelmed by expectation, obligation, and competition, their fear of failure, their palpable exhaustion when thinking about their future, I've learned that their social emotional well-being is more important than their accomplishment. Over my whiteboard, after the anti-immigrant rhetoric from the last several years, I put up a declarative sign reading, "You are America." It's a reminder to students that they have a responsibility to make this country work and live up to the values it holds dear. But it's also an homage from me to them, that they have made me believe that, as James Baldwin wrote, we can do with this country something that has never been done before. My students have taught me that we're not a nation of numbers, rates, or ratios. We're a nation of diverse thinkers, innovators, and activists. And it is nurturing and giving power to these traits that will allow us to call this great American experiment a true success.
Thank you, Leah and Michelle. Finally, our last introduction comes from Araceli Tompkins Delgado, an 8th grader at Rancho Medanos Junior High School.
Hello, my name is Araceli, and Mrs. Anzana is my 8th grade English teacher. She's really sweet, and she loves talking to me after school, no matter if it's about our weekend, books, or anime. She's really understanding, and she listens to all her students. And her class is really amazing. It brightens up my day, even though I'm always tired after PE. I remember there was an assignment I didn't do so well on, and I think I kind of rushed through it, but I did a lot better than I expected to when she came back to me with the results, and she congratulated me, and I felt really proud of myself. And now I'd like to introduce our Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Enzano.
Hello, my name is Christina Zanzano, and I'm an 8th grade English language arts teacher at Rancho Medranos Junior High in Pittsburgh, California. As a middle school teacher for the last 16 years, I've learned so much from my students. They've taught me that all people have the ability to change, the importance of a teacher who believes in them, and the value of forming teacher-student relationships. One of the most valuable lessons that I've learned is one that can only come from teaching middle school students for several years. That lesson is to never make assumptions about your students. There is no way to predict the outcome for a student. Students often get labeled as problematic, and assumptions can be made on what the future will be like for them. But year after year, I'm shown how wrong any of these assumptions can be. I've had students show up years later, the ones who were considered a challenge in the classroom, that are now successful high school graduates, entering college, graduating from college, and working. I've learned that you can't make assumptions about a child based on their behavior in middle school. They all have the ability to change and grow, and it's the job of their teachers to provide the tools and safe space to do that. The way in which the safe environment is created is by allowing each student the grace to make a mistake and allowing each day to be a fresh start. I've learned how important it is to allow students the space to make those mistakes and have someone in their life to help them learn from those mistakes. This lesson has also led to other lessons. My students have taught me that having a teacher who believes in them is crucial. I've always told my students they can do anything, and I believe it. At the end of every year, the one thing I hear from my students that has always resonated with me is, "Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for not giving up on me." It's hearing that year after year that makes me realize how important it is for students to have someone in their lives that they can count on, someone who believes in their ability to be successful. Although I've learned so much from my students over the last 16 years of teaching through the pandemic has really taught me so much more. The importance of building relationships with my students became more apparent than ever. Virtual learning made teaching students a challenge. Brand new students were entering our classes, brand new teachers whom the students had never met. And at first, many students were reluctant to come to their virtual classes. It proposed a challenge for me. As I reached out to students through phone calls and during class with check-ins on how they were doing, more students would show up to class. Many would tell me, "I came because you care." They taught me how much they appreciated when I asked them every day how they were doing. This experience really showed me how important those interpersonal relationships are. Researchers and educators say it's important, but it was the removal of the physical classroom that really proved it. I had to figure out a way to be more than a talking head on the computer screen for my students. My students taught me that I couldn't have done it without nurturing these relationships. The ultimate goal is to have students learn and succeed, but without fostering a meaningful relationship with students, that's a very difficult, if not impossible, task. If there's anything my students have taught me this year and years past, it is that having an adult in their life who genuinely shows compassion, interest, and concern in them is more valuable to them than anything else you can teach in the classroom. Building that trust and safety between you and your students will help them foster their future academic success.
Thank you, Araceli and Christina. And thank you to all 4 of our students for those great testimonials about their teachers. Now, I will turn things back over to Superintendent Lynn Mackey, who will announce the 2021-22 Teachers of the Year. Superintendent Mackey.
Thank you, Marcus. Please join me in thanking the 4 finalists and the students who introduced him. Those introductions are a testament to the inspiration of those teachers who have been in their classrooms. Before I announce the 2 Teachers of the Year, I want to thank all 21 educators who have been honored here this evening. I would also like to thank the 4 finalists and their students for sharing this evening with us. With that, drum roll, please. Uniform, please. The faculty, The winner of the 2021-22 Teacher of the Years are Michelle Wilson from Doherty Valley High School, representing the San Ramon Valley Unified School District, and Kristen Plant from Miramonte High School, representing the Acalanes Union High School District. Congratulations to Kristen and Michelle. And we will now let them say a few words.
Okay, I guess Kristen, I'll go first since we're sharing. First of all, my heart's beating incredibly fast. I just want to say I am completely honored and so grateful. And as I sit here, I think about really the power of teachers and how honored I am to be part of this profession and amongst such wonderful colleagues with all of you. And I just really think also too about the colleagues of mine personally and students who have been able to inspire me to this point, and my administrators who believed in me and allowed me to pursue some of the passions and interests that I've been interested in. And yeah, and I hope to just continue to go on and to spread this with other teachers and just really stand for our profession, especially in these difficult times. So just thank you. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so humbled and grateful. I'm grateful to all of the amazing teachers that I've been lucky enough to learn from over the years. I'm so grateful to my amazing colleagues at Miramonte High School, in the Acalanes Union High School District, and in the speech and debate community throughout this great state and nation. I love you, my students, and you are the reason that I know that I have a dream job. And I would like to thank my family so much, because it's a real blessing to have been raised in a family that prioritizes education. And most of all, I want to thank my favorite person in the journey of life, and as a fellow educator, my wonderful husband, Mike Plant. Thank you so much.
Kristen and Michelle will now represent the county in the statewide Teacher of the Year competition. We expect to hear from those results in early October. As we conclude tonight's event, I want to congratulate all 21 of the teachers honored here tonight and wish our winners good luck in the next phase of this contest. To the sponsors who have supported the celebration, and to the students who created videos honoring their teachers, and to the talented students from Heritage High School, thank you for your contributions in making tonight special for our 2021-22 Contra Costa County Teachers of the Year. That concludes tonight's event. Thank you and have a good night. We will hopefully see you in person next year for our 50th anniversary of this celebration.
Look around where you are. See my love shine like the stars. Take a breath where you stand. I'm forever here to hold your hand. Oh, 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 across the sky. storms.